Get ready with us.
While we share our... I'm saying it, man. While we share our love story.
Part 5.
This is part 5 of how we met and our love story.
No.
Oh,
anyway,
man.
so by this time we have gotten married, and we made a decision while we were engaged to go ahead and start our family right after our wedding.
Yes. You know, the things we was dealing with the cervical cancer scare, and
it was very scary.
Very scary. So we really thought in our heads, this might be our only opportunity. We better take it.
They were talking hysterectomies and all that stuff, and so we definitely wanted to at least have one child before we had no opportunity to have another one. And unfortunately, I must admit that was a test of our faith, and we horribly failed. Yeah. We did not give our fertility to God. We assumed that doctors were going to,
Fear definitely superseded our faith.
Yes, we were fearful that we never have a baby of our own, and so we had a baby 4 months after we got married. I started my cycle. I stopped my last birth control pill, was taken that Sunday before our wedding. My last cycle came that Wednesday, and that Sunday of our wedding, I was off my cycle, and we started immediately trying to have a baby.
Oh, yeah.
It was the craziest 4 months ever.
Well, we know without making a baby was that hard.
We literally was having sex like every day. Almost for 4 months straight till August. We got married in April, and up until August, we had sex almost every day because
we got tired.
We didn't know what we were doing.
Oh man,
we just wanted a baby, and so it wasn't until August when I got my cycle, and my cycle was all over the place because of the hormones from the birth control wearing off, and so I did not know when I was going to ovulate. My cycle was no longer 28 days, and it was all over the place. Well, I just knew my cycle wasn't coming. It was like 8 days late, and I just knew for a fact I wasn't getting a cycle. I knew for a fact I had to have been pregnant, even though pregnancy test said negative. We were at a movie. This was early August. We were at a movie. I was in white shorts, and I was like, let me go to the restroom. I think something's happening in these shorts. Let me go to the restroom real quick. And sure enough, I started my cycle.
Yeah, it was like, oh.
Came out the restroom crying, very frustrated, very upset. And then we went to my mom's house, didn't even make it to the movie because I was just so upset. And she was just like, listen, if it's not happening, what can you do? Like, y'all are really stressing yourselves trying to make this happen. And so about 3 days later while I was at work, I was like, listen, you just got a promotion at work. We're getting ready to make a year married in about 8 months. Let's go ahead and plan a nice 1-year anniversary trip and just live our lives. Like, we cannot worry about this anymore. My body cannot do this anymore. Yep. And he was like, I feel you.
My mind couldn't either. So we decided, let's just stop worrying about it. Just enjoy ourselves and focus on this nice 1-year anniversary trip that we're going to plan on doing. And we just started, just living life and just, being husband and wife. And then
so September comes. Yeah. We only had sex like 3 times in August. So September comes because we were tired. And so September comes, and my cycle was like 4 or 5 days late, according to a 28-day cycle. And so I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, it's probably just the same thing it's been every other month. So I'm not gonna worry about it. However, I do want to take a pregnancy test. So I got off from work at like 10 o'clock at night. My mama wanted a water filter for a refrigerator. We worked at Lowe's, both of us still, but I worked at a different store. He wasn't at work. And so I forgot to grab the water filter before I left. So while we were at Walmart at about 11 o'clock at night, I got a pregnancy test and the water filter. So we went home first to take the pregnancy test. I'm on the toilet.
Yup.
He got the test on the counter. We're just talking. Yep. And I was like, oh, we forgot about the test. Check the test. So I get up. I walked out.
I'm here looking at it, examining it. Like, am I seeing what I'm seeing right now? I'm like, hold on. She's like, what? And then she looks at it and she sees.
And I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, I'm pregnant.
And I'm still here, after she looked at it, I'm still just looking at it like,
I'm pregnant, like a deer in the headlights. He was like a deer in the headlights. He was so shocked. And he was smiling from ear to ear. Like it was a happy shock.
Because all that work we was doing to try to get a baby, and then we just pull the plug and say, just forget it, let's just do it, let's just be us, let's do whatever, and all of a sudden it happened.
Well, no, what's funny is literally when they told me what day I probably conceived, I remember exactly how I got pregnant. I literally had sex. We literally had sex that night. We had sex that night, and that was the day I got pregnant. The day I ovulated, according to the calendar, is the day I got pregnant.
Yep.
And so, I guess we did pass the faith test. Because at the end of the day, we gave it to God, and God delivered.
God delivered.
But it was not easy.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely a journey going through this pregnancy. A lot of ups and downs throughout this whole pregnancy. Just like knowing what kind of restrictions that she's going to be under, and knowing what she needed throughout the whole pregnancy. Luckily, the company, they worked for at Lowe's, they was accommodating her, giving her a stool to sit down, so she don't be on her feet for a long time. And I was really worried about her going through those stages.
Because if y'all remember, in our love story part 3, we talked about my cervical cancer journey and how they removed most of my cervix and told me I would never have my own children on my own. I would need a circlage, and there was a good chance that the circlage wouldn't even work. And so, unfortunately, I experienced a lot of ups and downs while I was pregnant with London. But like you said, thank God I worked for a company that was willing to work with me and adhere to my restrictions and make sure I had a stool to sit on. And when being in outside lawn and garden became difficult because of needing to be relieved, I would go on the inside. They sent me to the inside registers. And so it was all a blessing, but it was hard. It was hard. Lots of ultrasounds. I had 5 cysts on my left ovary. My cervix was starting to get a little short. And so it just was a lot of ups and downs that whole pregnancy. We tried to have sex at 5 months, and that's when we were put back off of sex. They told us we could have sex around at our 5-month checkup. And then we had sex and had to put me back off of it until after the baby came because I started bleeding at work. And so it was just a lot. It was just a lot going on, but we survived. London was born at 38 weeks and 1 day. They did give me a pill to harden my cervix, and so I never could start contractions on my own. I had to be forced into contractions because my water did break. And she was born at 6 pounds 1 ounce, 18 inches long, at 7:39 p.m. on April 29th, 2 weeks to the date after our anniversary. We were in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Trying to figure it all out.
We're trying to figure it out.
I mean, we had like some things ready, but we was really knowing what we was really up against, y'all.
And you want to know something funny is we actually did do some type of homework and research, right? Like we went around pricing diapers, pricing daycare, pricing 2 bedrooms, and we really thought we had a plan. And then she comes and it's nothing like what we thought it was going to be. Her demands, the things that she would need, ended up being nothing like what we imagined. She ended up definitely being she was healthy, but she ended up having eczema and allergies and
she had a little bit of
acid reflux.
Acid reflux.
And so that the first several months trying to figure out the right formula for her, because I did decide to stop breastfeeding, which, that's a whole nother video. I did decide to stop breastfeeding. I was 25 years old. I didn't know what I was doing. All he wanted to do was see me happy. So the day I told him, 2 days after she was born, I told him, go get some milk. I can't do this. And I didn't have nobody to really advocate for me or make me feel like it was okay and this would get easier. And I regret that every day, y'all. I regret it every single day. Listen, if you have a plan to breastfeed, do it. Do not let no one around you that don't agree with you, because honestly, I was on the phone with my mama when I told him to go get formula. She's actually the one that told me to tell him to go get formula. And instead of encouraging me, because she didn't agree with it, she was like, I didn't nurse any of y'all and y'all came out fine. But I mean, it doesn't matter. If it's something I wanted to do, why couldn't you support me? And my mom's a single mom, and so I'm the oldest of us, and we have a closeness that's kind of toxic, honestly. And so I listened to her, and I told him, go get her milk, and I never looked back.
And from my end, I was watching her suffer, I was watching her cry. I watched a whole bunch of things that's happened over and over and over again. Like, I wasn't breastfed as a child, so And I wasn't talk to her about the just the importance
The true
of breastfeeding.
importance
If I
of
knew
it.
the facts and I really honed down to what the facts were and what they would do,
Yeah.
you know, I would have more of a mind to help her go through the process and stick with it until we get it.
Yeah.
But instead, you know, I let my emotions lead me the other way because I saw her suffering and going through a whole lot of pain and things. So.
Well, I can imagine how difficult that could be.
Yeah.
And so I don't fault him for it. We were both young and we didn't know any better. The breastfeeding class taught us how to breastfeed, but not necessarily honing in on why. And so it is what it is. I have a little bit of regret now that she's 10. She has been on her cycle for a year now. And so I have a small bit of still of resentment and regret lingering, but I know that at the end of the day, I cannot go back and I can't redo it. I did nurse Autumn and Rain though, because of that experience. And I just made a decision, like, I'm going to fully nurse these two. It was hard again for me to go into it with Autumn. I did attempt to stop, but when I realized my milk was really trying to dry up, that's when I started back up. And I did end up nursing her for the entire first year of her life. Rain nursed for 21 months. She was very blessed. She's very blessed. I didn't try to stop at all. Actually, I produced so much with her that I was able to do we were able to do 2 vacations. No, 1 4-day vacation, 2 sleepovers, and man, and a bunch of times where I would leave her with my mother-in-law so I could go to lunch or so that I could do brand stuff. I mean, we had bags and bags of milk in that refrigerator. It was so many bags that when I went on vacation, I was so sad to come home.
23 bags.
No, it was, at the time, they would filter out and I put new ones, and they would filter out again, I put new ones. It was about 20 to 30 bags in there at a time. It was definitely a blessing. So, but we had London, got through those first 4 months. I caught mastitis.
Yeah.
I stayed out with her for about 3 months. And then month 4, I went back to work.
Oh, man.
And one day I came home. He met me home. I went to the grocery before he met me.
Yes. And I came home. I saw the door cracked open already. So I already instantly knew someone broke into our apartment. I mean, they cleaned us out, family. They cleaned us out. They took all our jewelry, took our TV, took my PlayStation, all my games, movies. It took everything from us. And I just seen her. I looked down the stairways and saw her walking up and looking at me and see the look on my face. What happened? And I remember you holding London in the car seat. And then I was just so angry. And then that night, she was so scared that she could not sleep that night. So my dad came over. God bless my dad. He came over the next day.
I went to my mom's house.
My dad just helped me pack the whole apartment down, and we just broke our lease and said we're leaving out of here. We can't stay up in here. And then we stayed with your mom for like a month.
Yeah.
And then we got a new apartment, moving into this apartment.
Now we're in a 2-bedroom.
Yeah.
But the thing is with that apartment, the reason why we broke the lease, it wasn't just because of the break-in, it was everything that had led up to the break-in.
Yeah.
So we had been in this apartment now at this time for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
And the apartment above us, which was on the 3rd floor, we were on the 2nd. The apartment right above us had been broken into about a year before we were. When that apartment got broken into, we could tell that someone had been attempting to use a crowbar on our door. We didn't say anything because we didn't have any proof. We thought maybe, the apartments weren't necessarily the newest. Yeah. So we thought maybe that was already there. But something told me that it was somebody attempted to break into ours but couldn't, so they went up to the 3rd floor instead. Yep. Jonathan would try to go to the gym in the apartment to work out, and there would be people hanging all over the apartment, hanging all over the equipment, smoking weed, and just literally hanging out like gang member type guys. Like, they just looked like they were bad business, right? And so he stopped going to that gym. And then one day when we first got married, I had a white Nissan Juke, and I came outside and someone had poured chocolate syrup all over my car.
All over the car.
When I called the leasing office, they told me that every white car in the apartment complex had been done that way. And so it was just one thing after another. And so us getting broken into was the last straw, because I was actually supposed to be off the next day. So I was like, what if they tried to do this while I was home with our baby?
Oh, God.
And so the next day, I went to my mom's house that night. He and I went to my mom's house that night, and then the next day, he went ahead and went back to the apartment with his dad in a U-Haul. They literally packed up our entire apartment, took down all of our furniture, and got us out of there by the end of that day. Just him and his dad. And a month later, we moved into a 2-bedroom in a pretty decent apartment. on the other side of the freeway. And it was definitely in a better part of this area.
Definitely way better.
Yeah, it was definitely in a better part of this area. But I mean, it took a toll on our finances.
God.
Yes, we went from $700 a month for rent to like
what,
12?
Yeah, about 12. Yep.
Maybe 12.
It wasn't ready for that. We had a plan to cut our credit card debt down and everything we was doing in the other apartment, and that whole plan went straight away. Straight. We had to take care of our needs, our necessities, and we had to let go of taking care of credit card bills.
Yeah.
So that's the first part that went away. So then now our credit just slumbered down.
Credit got bad because we had to let credit card bills go. And I want to say that was our first financial hardship.
Yep, it was.
We had many after that, but that was the first. We were doing great, and then this happened, and it literally turned our lives upside down.
It did.
Thank God we had renter's insurance, so everything was covered. We did get a check to be able to get everything we lost back, so that was a blessing. But it was horrible. I couldn't sleep at night for the longest because I'm gonna tell y'all, let me tell you, when God starts talking to you and you feel like this extremely strong feeling, like it's overwhelming, it either brings you to tears or it brings you fear. When you feel it, listen to it. I actually had been telling Jonathan that I was having a hard time sleeping at night because I felt like somebody was going to try to break into this apartment while we were sleeping. I had the hardest time. I used to tell him that I wanted to start keeping London's diaper bag, my purse, and any of our personal belongings that we would need in our room, so that way if someone tried to break into that door, we can jump out of the balcony. He would jump first. I would put London in her car seat and throw her over. And then I would jump and he would attempt to catch me. Prayerfully he would. And I was I was thinking about tying ropes together, like tying bed sheets together. Like I was freaking out.
I remember how it was made. We talked about like making like a circle around. They come on this side, we go on this side.
Yeah.
We had all kinds of scenarios in our head.
I was freaking out at night. I could not sleep. Yeah. And then sure enough, a few weeks later, we did get broken into, but it was just in the daytime. And I'm telling y'all, if you feel God pulling you, if you feel God talking to you, if you feel a strong intuition that you cannot deny, you can vividly see whatever it is you're feeling, whether it's good or bad, happening.
Pay attention to it.
Pay attention to it.
Strong attention.
Pay attention to it. And let God lead you.
Yes.
I wish every day I would have. I wish every day I would be like, you know what? If this problem, we got to go and be done. But I didn't. But thank God they were able to find someone to fill that apartment before my that month was over, because we paid our rent already right before this happened. We paid our rent, and so technically the apartment was ours for the month, but they needed to fill it in order for us not to have to pay the fees to get out of it.
Right.
And so they filled it, thank God. And so we did not have to pay anything to get out of it, but it was a very trying time.
Yes, it was. And that was a really uncomfortable trial that we faced. There's a lot of things that we really, our hearts and minds was just not ready to navigate through it.
Yeah.
And
we weren't expecting that.
We was not expecting. We thought everything would go accordingly to how it was supposed to went, and it just went straight left.
Yeah. And then we get into this new apartment, and other parts of life began to hit.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the best wife. I didn't make Jonathan feel the love he should have felt. Marriage was quite triggering to my trauma that I've dealt with all my life. I was raised in a broken home. My dad cheated on my mom their whole marriage, and then left her for the last woman he cheated on her with when I was 13. And my relationship with him was trash. Like, if I go without talking to my dad to this day, I'm okay with it. That's just how bad our relationship is. When I do see him, I love him. I love on him. I say hi, we hug, but he don't call me, I don't call him. And it was really bad all those years ago. I've come to a place of peace now that I'm okay where we are. But there was a time where it was hard. And between that and, like I said, just everything I went through as a child that led into everything I went through in my dating life before Jonathan. Basically, everybody I dated before Jonathan was a younger version of my dad. And It wasn't until we got married that I realized just how much healing I needed to do. I had a lot of trauma from my mom as well, which she caused a lot of trauma while I was pregnant because she felt like we shouldn't have had a baby. Yeah. It was just a lot going on. It was a lot going on, and I wasn't my best self. I did not give my marriage the best version of me. I did not give Jonathan the best version of me. And every action has a reaction, but then sometimes those reactions have another reaction, and it's just like a domino effect. It's like teeter-totter. My actions, the things that I would say and do that were not right, and I mean, when I didn't do anything, but it's just like the way I would talk to him, and I was raised in such a hostile environment. I only know how to argue. I don't know how to fix conflict amicably. I don't know how to resolve and dissolve conflict with peace and tranquility and unity. I know how to fall apart. And my family's still like that. When I don't do something that they like, even my sister, she's quick to tell me off and like write me some checks that my A can't cash. Like, she's quick to like tell me smooth off, bring up everything I've ever done in my past when we're in an argument, and literally make me feel like the scum of the earth. Yeah. My mom is, she will abandon me in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, like I used to like handle conflict with peace and handle it from a standpoint. And like, I ain't gonna lie to you, I was like lost in a maze on how to navigate through what we was going through. You know, I really was like just oblivious to the fact of how much healing that she need to do in that moment or what was happening, and also to like how I can be a helping hand to her doing the healing, and how can I help her overcome it, because I was not able to see it from the angle that, you know, God needed me to see it from, and what she needed for me to see it from, in order to realize what's happening, and how my place of position here can be a whole lot stronger as far as us navigating through those problems. And I don't think I did not have any of that stuff in my tool bag of realizing what we was going through and how to go about accordingly to it. You know, just try to create a different kind of outcome. Like, it's almost like I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong, and I'm trying to figure out why she's feeling this way. I'm trying to figure out where's this stuff coming from. And so yeah, it was really a tough storm to get through, and also to navigate through emotions. It's like just lost in the wilderness, and I'm asking to be, can somebody find my emotions? Can somebody give me some thoughts that I need to get to help me out with this? Like, help me.
One that was crazy is he did know where it was coming from. Yeah. But it was hard to remember it wasn't coming from him. Like, it wasn't that he was doing something wrong. It was hard for him to remember that because I was making it like it was his fault. Like, everything was his fault. I think I came into our marriage expecting Jonathan to provide me with happiness, ultimate happiness, to make up for everything that I had never received before him. And how unfreaking fair for me to come into this marriage expecting him to save me in such a big way. He's one person. He'll never be my dad. He'll never be any of the men before him. He is one person. And I came into this marriage thinking I'm finally going to be happy because I'm married.
And I was able to undo those years you had.
Exactly. And that was the biggest mistake I made. The biggest mistake I made is expecting Jonathan to be the source of my happiness. He's not the source of my happiness. He's the safe place that my happiness can dwell in and thrive in, but he's not the source. If Jonathan was to leave today, I have to still be okay. I have to still be happy. I have to still find joy and find peace. Will it be hard? Yes. But I still have to be able to have a happiness and a joy and a peace within me that's far from whatever he was providing for me while we were together. I definitely think that going into a marriage, both whole, coming together, is better than pieces of you coming into a marriage, because then you come into it expecting the other person to complete you. Yeah. And that person's job is not to complete you.
Yeah, complete yourself.
That person's job is to give you a safe space to complete yourself, to give you a safe space to thrive within yourself. They can't thrive for you. And that was probably my greatest freaking lesson.
Me too.
I definitely spent years apologizing for it. I still do to this day. It does still bring me to tears. It does still make me really sad and remorseful, regretful, resentful of myself, because I feel like I robbed him of those first few years of marriage.
I mean, for me, I spent years trying to be that guy to fix everything and be that guy to take that burden that she had and then try to fix it. And that definitely made our issue a lot worse. That was like more fire. It added more fuel to the fire.
Yes.
It definitely did.
It did. It didn't do nothing positive
At all.
It basically just made the situation worse because I had ridiculous expectations of him because I saw him willing to give me the world. And so I expected the world. And when he couldn't deliver the world because he's a human being, he's one freaking person, I wouldn't accept that. I wasn't happy with that. And I made him feel like he was less than. I made him feel like he was incapable of ever loving me the way I desired to be, that he was not the man for me, that he may just not be the man for me.
And had me saying it myself.
Yeah, like maybe I'm not the man for you. Like he would tell me that. And that's when I had to be like, oh, gotta do something different. I have to do something different. I have to do something different. And that's when the healing began. But before the healing began, it got bad, and unfortunately, I ended up emotionally attaching myself to somebody I worked with. But that's another story.
Say that for part number 6.
For part 6.
Yeah.
Part 6 is basically going to be about that and how we worked through it, how he forgave me, and how I forgave him. Because, like I said, my actions caused a reaction. He began to get neglectful. He began to step away and step out of our marriage. Like he was like emotionally checked out.
My focus is all changed.
He was focused on London.
Things,
he was focused on work, and he lost focus in me and on our marriage. And so that caused the reaction, which is the emotional ties to this person.
Stay tuned for that, y'all. So stay tuned.